Social security spending is spiralling out of control. How many times have you heard that? How many times have you thought about that? Do you know that's not true? It never has been. In fact, social security spending has remained relatively steady at around 11% or so of GDP for years, if not decades, at this point. In March of last year, the OBR, that's the Office for Budget Responsibility, published their figures and showed that the share of GDP taken by Social Security was about 11.1%, and they predicted that it would fall but to about 11% by 2028, rising again to about 11.1% by 2029. However, they published their new figures in March of this year, and they put Social Security spending at about 10.9% of GDP and falling to 10.7 to 10.8% by 2028 to 2029. Now, those figures could change again, but what those figures show is that far from spiraling out of control, spending on Social Security remains sustainable and stable. The majority of Social Security spending goes on our elders, which is absolutely fine by me. But our disabled people deserve to be taken care of too. The vast majority of disabled people have spent years working before claiming disability benefits, and many disabled people are still working. Disability can happen to any one of you any day now. I'm lucky. I did need disability benefits, but because of privilege, I don't anymore. But my friends do. My friends who work their fingers to the bone do. My friends with disabled children do. And if we had a wealth tax, a real proper wealth tax, and a wealth tax on wealthy people's assets, we wouldn't have to put up with ridiculous political tropes from the right, like social security spending is spiraling out of control when it never has been, and it isn't now. And you know, it's funny because all the same people who will tell you that this is a Christian country are also all the same people who will tell you they can't possibly afford to look after disabled people. That's not what Jesus would tell you, by the way. Social security spending is very definitely not spiraling out of control. And just as we can afford to look after our elders, we can afford to look after disabled people too. Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage and all of those right wing, thoughtless politicians will continue to bang that trope, that drum. But the truth is they're lying. And they're lying to set you against your neighbour so that you don't ask for a wealth tax. So that rather than ensuring that your work is valued, you're set against your neighbour. Social security spending is well under control. And you can take that to the bank.